Hello, everyone. It's Katan, founder of BossBayBlog.com, and I'm back to do a quick recap on a conversation that we just recently had at our Boss Bay Business Show with MJ, the founder of TravelWithMJ.net. So, if this is your first time joining, I'm going to give you a quick little recap. But basically, we have a show called the Boss Bay Business Show, and on this show, I will give out business opportunities, events, share small business products that I love, but then I will also go into interviewing entrepreneurs sometimes and they will come and talk about a topic of their choice. Well, last night we actually didn't do a topic of our choice, but we just got into talking about work-life balance, how we treat people, great work environments, great leaders, things like that. And one of the things that I wanted to highlight and touch on was how you speak to service workers, team members, service providers. It speaks volumes to your integrity. It speaks volume because when you know that a person is a professional that how do I say this? Okay, so when you know that someone is a professional, you know that it's their job to deliver a specific service, right? We know that that's what they are supposed to do. And we also know that most likely, 9 times out of 10, they have something to lose. And when you feel like a person has something to lose, you feel like there's more flexibility on how you can treat them or what you should say to them. And it's wrong. And a lot of times people take advantage of that or, use that. But in all reality, how you treat people, how you speak to them, it speaks volumes to your integrity. And it's not to say that you can't change, grow, and elevate, but it is to say that if that's a struggle point and, you have this thing where you become this rigid, animal when you're dealing with people that you feel like you're entitled to treating them like a slave, um, it says a lot about you. And so, my goal with this conversation is to remind people of the importance of how you speak to people, not only because of you wanting to get something productive and proactive out of it, because the more than likely when you're speaking to somebody from a proactive place, you're going to get a more proactive response. But that's not the only thing. The other thing is our impact. We have to pay attention to our impact. I think a lot of times people don't realize the power of their impact. So you don't understand that your energy, your attitude, your words, your intentions, specifically your intentions. I got to talk about that because that was actually on the list. Your intentions can be the reason why a person gets up happy and smiles, or it could be the reason why a person goes home crying and bawling out at night. And so when you go out of your way to make sure that those intentions are positive, but also the actions align with it, it makes a huge impact. And when you go out of your way to have intentions that are negative, coming from pride, coming from ego, coming from anger, coming from lack of emotional maturity, coming from lack of impulse control, the impact that you create is going to be different. So it's not just about getting more or being able to get more for yourself. It's about what we're giving when we're speaking to people and how we're dealing with people. And I learned this in retail. So I learned this a long time ago, but unfortunately there are a lot of people that don't get that lesson or have that conversation. And so you find adults speaking and treating people as if they are their slaves or like they're entitled to something when in reality that is not the case. And also kind of taking people for granted, but also trying to take advantage of people because they know that they're in a position where maybe they have something to lose. And so the way you treat them is different. Because if you're walking down the street and you walk past a person who has nothing to lose, how you speak to them is going to be a little different sometimes, depending on who you are. The average person, how you speak to them is going to be different. They have nothing to lose. They don't care about anything. And when you come to them and you speak to them and talk to them and treat them a certain kind of way that is hostile, disrespectful, rude, unnecessary, unwarranted, unsolicited, you know that you're going to get a certain reaction. But when you're speaking to someone that has something to lose, even when you're wrong, they're going to just sit through it. Or they're just not going to engage in it on the level that you know that they would if they didn't have something to lose. So I think it says more about the person that does that than it does about the person that has something to lose because you're doing that intentionally. And I wanted to just bring highlight to this, but also for people who are trying to develop a team. You may not realize it, but this energy does transfer into your business. So if this is how you are when you speak to people, service providers, workers, business peers, because it's behind the scenes, when you are hiring a team and when you're working with a team, that energy will transfer because you don't know how to speak to people and it's not going to be received well and you're not going to be able to retain that team. Um, I've worked in environments where they were definitely demotivating because the person that I was working with was draining, tiring, negative, um, not solution oriented, problem oriented for sure. And it decreases productivity. So just to have an overall more fruitful life and fruitful results from what you're doing and where you're sitting at, really pay attention to the impact that you have, and also pay attention to the integrity that you're building. How do you speak to people when you're upset? How do you speak to people when you're not getting what you want? How do you speak to people when you feel like they have nothing to lose? How do you treat people when you feel like they have nothing to lose? How do you treat people when you know that they have very few options and you're their only out? How do you treat people? Because it's less about the people and it's more about you at that point. And that's the message that I wanted to leave on my profile. You know, like I said, I've worked in retail. The conversation that I had with MJ on the live, we were talking about how in service fields, like you work in retail, you providing food or whatever, you deal with a lot of different personalities and people. And a lot of times people like to dump their miserableness onto a service worker as if I have anything to do with why you're upset internally and why you're angry. And so things that are minute become huge things that they carry on and they drag on because they have internal issues that they're going through. And that still is a reflection of their character. Because to not be able to be honest with yourself or hold yourself accountable to why you feel this way and to push that out on strangers or people that don't have anything to do with your actions and your choices, it's still a reflection of your integrity. It's not being honest. It's not being you're not coming from an intentional place of like being genuine and supportive or loving or positive. So I just say to pay attention to how you speak to people and how you treat them. And even like sometimes some things, just take a moment to sit before you actually respond or say stuff, because when we respond from a place of emotions, place of anger, frustration, or whatever the case may be, we end up saying and doing things that don't align with the character that we're trying to build or with the character traits that we endorse. I've had so many experiences with people in life and in business that publicly endorsed a specific thing, and then meeting them or seeing how they interact with other people or them even interacting with me, quite nasty individuals or intentionally disruptive individuals or boundary disrespecting individuals or controlling individuals. And I say that only to reflect back to, we need to really make it a point to work on ourselves and continue to build our character. There's always a way we can grow. There's always a way we can have a deeper impact. There's always a way we can walk into a room and light it up in the best way, in a positive way. Um, there's always a way that we can choose to truly be intentional and be genuine. And how you start a conversation, how you speak to a person when you're not feeling happy, it speaks volumes about your intentions and your integrity. So let's just practice sitting in our emotions and breathing before we react, because you can miss out on some really great opportunities. You can miss out on some really great people, and you can miss out on some really great gratification, delayed gratification. Instead of that instant gratification that you get to just, blast all your emotions out, try delayed gratification where you really sit through them and then you create an impact that is actually lasting in a positive way that makes someone want to be a part of it. You know what I mean? So do that, and then watch how the interaction that you have in life will grow. The happiness that you have, your internal peace that you have will grow. People will be more attracted to you. You won't have to fight for validation or approve. You won't have to fight to prove that you're about something because your actions align with it. Um, these are all things to consider and just food for thought on a Saturday. So that's the goal. That's the intention. And now that we've shared that, I want to briefly go ahead and let's shout out where we're at on our YouTube channel, because we got to say thank you to everybody and we got to let everybody know where we're at with this contest. All right. So Boss Babe Blog currently has 214 subscribers. So if you subscribe to our channel, thank you so much for your support. If you had not subscribed to our channel, but you've been watching and viewing, I appreciate you too, because we have surpassed 10,000 views for this month, and we are looking to get to 12,000 to 15,000 views on YouTube alone. So thank you so much to every single person that subscribed. Please know that we do have a contest going on right now. We are providing digital business card designs for any entrepreneurs that need a new business card design, but you're just getting like stuck. You know, you don't have, what's the word? You have like writer's block, but I guess artist block, whatever you want to call it. But if that's you and you just want someone to give you a fresh pair of eyes, give you a different perspective of how you could create a nice, beautiful business card, we're going to provide you with 2 free business card designs. Normally, that would be a paid service because it is me sitting down, looking at your brand, coming up with a beautiful design for you, and you would get 2 separate ones. So you're going to have them to choose from, or if you like both, then keep both and have one for this year and have one for the next year, or have one for certain events and have one for others. But at the end of the day, you're going to get 2 free business designs. How this would work: you're going to go subscribe to Boss Babe Blog on YouTube. You're going to see if you win. If you win, you will receive instruction on what you need to do to claim your prize. There will be a form that you fill out. After you fill out this form, your free cards will be delivered to you. Once we have finished delivering the free cards, we will then move to our next contest. So again, we are at 214 subscribers. We only need, what is that? Less than 30, I think that's 36 subscribers that we need left to give out these free digital business card designs for 2 or 1 professional that wants 2 different designs that they can use for their business cards. So if that's you, go subscribe. Hopefully this video speaks volumes to somebody that just needs a little bit of encouragement, who might be a service worker, provider, team member, whoever you are. Understand that a lot of people don't have the same level of emotional intelligence or impulse control, and they are projecting their insecurities, their frustrations, their shortcomings, their lack of accountability, their negativity, their miserableness onto you. They will project that onto you. That is a part of life, whether you're a service provider or not. But who you become when they do that is what defines you and how wonderful you are. So the fact that you have the integrity to keep going, keep servicing, keep being reliable, keep providing quality, even if you don't have something to lose and you just choose to do that, it speaks volumes to you. So I want to give those flowers to those kind of people, providers, team members. Even if you work a 9 to 5 and you have that level of integrity, I'm not encouraging you to stay in those environments. I'm encouraging you to continue being the wonderful person that you are. And as you see fit, get up and move to the next room and accept people for who they are and place them in an area in your life and let them stay there until their actions show otherwise. Thank you so much for watching this live, and I will be back. Let me tell you what our next conversation is, so you can come and join me again if you'd like to. Let's see. Next conversation is small businesses versus corporation products. Which one is better? That's what we're going to talk about. We're going to compare corporations to small businesses, and we're going to talk all about it. So I'll see you guys in about 5 minutes if you're joining me for that next live. And if you're not, thank you for watching. I appreciate you for joining. Bye-bye.